Cancora, I am somewhat alarmed by the government's lack of imagination and half-hearted approach to Brexit. Now, let me be clear. Brexit is one of the biggest challenges that this state has ever faced, and numerous reports have indicated that a hard Brexit will have profound negative implications for Ireland, and the knock-on effects will be most keenly felt in rural Ireland in particular. Farmers, agribusinesses and suppliers throughout my constituency of Roscommon and Galway are very worried about the potentially devastating consequences of a hard Brexit. As a rural constituency, agriculture is one of the main priorities in counties such as Roscommon or Galway, and reduced access to the UK market through tariff barriers, a diminution of the value of the UK market through increased imports from lower-cost countries, and the potential reduction in the CAP budget post-Brexit all present significant threats to the future growth and development of the Irish farming and food sector. In a scenario where there is a 10% reduction in the CAP budget and a reduction in UK food prices arising from reduced tariffs on imports, Teagasc have estimated that farm incomes could fall by a whopping 26%. Remember, this is coming from Teagasc. Applying this to the national farm income figure of €2.5 billion in 2016 would mean a reduction in farm incomes directly of almost €700 million. This, I am sure, Minister and Minister of State, you would accept, would have a crippling effect on rural Ireland, where farming families are already struggling to survive. Beef farmers are particularly worried as cuts of 37% to cattle farm incomes would gravely undermine the viability of suckler beef production in Ireland and substantially reduce the size of the 1 million suckler cow herd. This would jeopardise the livelihoods of the 100,000 farmers involved in livestock and beef production, resulting in thousands of job losses in export earnings. Analysis undertaken by the Economic and Social Research Institute on the impact of a hard Brexit on trade flows, that is, World Trade Organization trading rules applying following the UK exit, showed a potential reduction in EU trade to the UK of over 60%. That's for dairy, and a whopping 85% for meat products. Translating this into an Irish context, the value of meat exports to the UK would fall by €1.5 billion, while the value of dairy exports could fall by over €600 million. A strong CAP budget post-2020 is critical for farm incomes, farm output and wider economic activity. A reduction in spending power for Irish agriculture, arising from a cut in direct payments to farmers, would have a significant and negative knock-on impact on the demand for goods and services in the rural economy. While the Article 50 trigger letter and the draft guidelines issued by the European Council make reference to Ireland, which is welcome, this is only the beginning of a complex process, and the government must step up to the mark and do more to protect Ireland's interests. They must ensure that Ireland's distinct concerns do not fall off the negotiation agenda in the months and years ahead. Furthermore, they must provide support to the Irish businesses and industries to insulate them for the instability caused by Brexit, to help them diversify into new markets and ready themselves for a new trading environment. It is clear that this is not business as usual, and there is a need for a Brexit minister, as my colleagues have already said, to coordinate the required cross-departmental and cross-sectorial response. We are also calling on the government to advocate for a trade agreement that is close as feasible possible to what we have at present. 14% of Ireland's total exports go to the UK, as you know, and a trade regime based on WTO tariffs would be a disastrous outcome for Ireland. An ESRI report published in November 2016 indicated that the WTO scenario would result in the level of GDP being 3.8% below what it otherwise would have been in a no-Brexit scenario. We need the government to seek what it otherwise would have been in a no-Brexit scenario. We need the government to seek clarity on the future trading relationship as soon as feasibly possible in order to provide certainty and stability, which is essential for Irish business, Irish jobs and the Irish economy.